All right, these are notes number 12, your first notes for the week. You should have this beginning part written down from class. And we're going to do, this is notes from section 12-4. We're doing half of it today and then the other half on Wednesday or Thursday, depending on what period you're in. So we're solving quadratics by graphing today. So we are going to be graphing and finding a solution when we solve. How do I find a solution to a quadratic by graphing is our essential question. So the main thing here is find a solution and when we graph. So if you forgot how to graph, make sure you look back at your notes. From before spring break, we had notes on graphing and then we also relearned it last week. Your warm-up should be done. We will be coming back to solving by graphing, or sorry, factoring. We'll be factoring in the next couple weeks. So it's important to know how to, oh my gosh, how to factor. All right, go ahead and copy this down. Pause if you need to, but I will go ahead and just review this real quick. So like I was saying, there's several ways to solve quadratics. There's solving by factoring, like I was saying from up above, you'll need to remember that, and solving by graphing. There's other ways too, which you'll learn. So today we will learn how to graph, well, how to solve by graphing. When graphing, the solutions are the x-intercepts. The x-intercepts are the places where the graph, the parabola, crosses and intersects the x-axis, which is the horizontal axis. Those are the solutions, and you have to write it as an ordered pair. So the x-intercepts of the graph. There can be one, two, or no real number solutions. So I want you to think about that as we graph. Think about what the parabola could look like. Where is it located? Where is it translated to or reflected so that you can get one, two, or no places where it crosses the x-axis. Those are the solutions. Oh, also you might be asked in a question, it might kind of be asked in a different way. So I want you to know that the solution of a quadratic is the same. It's equal to x-intercepts, but then there's other names for it too. It could ask you find the roots, and that means the same thing. The roots are a solution of a quadratic, or zeros. The zeros are a solution of a quadratic. All right, pause if you need to, but I'm gonna go ahead and slide this up so you can copy down these steps. I already wrote on it on accident, kind of messed up. So I'll just explain what is written here. All right, so the steps are, first of all, make sure your equation is set equal to 0 and not equal to something else. If it is, then you subtract or add it to the other side. Once it's set equal to 0, it is called standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. It has to be in descending order of exponents. Then you're going to kind of like replace that 0 and make it a y. You can just graph y equals ax squared plus bx plus c. You can graph it like how we've learned previously in the notes. If you're stuck, confused, or if you want to check your answer, check your graph, you can always just type that into Desmos, like how we did in class, and you can graph that equation and see if it matches with what you were thinking. Once you graph it, you can see the solutions. So that's step 3. The solutions are the x-intercepts. Look at the graph. Where does the parabola cross the x-axis? And does it cross it in one place or touch it in one place, in two places, or no places? Think about what that could look like. And then on our Math Excel assignment, it's also going to ask you to identify key features. It's going to ask you to identify the vertex. Does the parabola open up like this one? This one is up or down like that one. Does the parabola open up or down? Remember, if it opens downward, it has a negative in front of the in front of the x squared. A has to be negative for it to point downwards. Then the other thing it's going to ask for is possibly the x and y intercepts. Remember, the x-intercepts are the solutions. So you probably already identify those. And then the y-intercepts is wherever it crosses the y-axis. So pause if you need to, copy this down. Again, the steps are make sure it's equal to 0, write it in standard form, graph it. If you have trouble graphing, use Desmos. Graphing might be a little difficult still. You still might be learning it and struggling a little, and that's okay. but use Desmos so that you can at least identify all these key features. The solution is the x-intercept. So you look at the graph and you see where does your parabola cross the x-axis, and then identify the other key features. All right, here is our example. Pause if I'm moving too quick. Okay. So the example is this equation, x squared plus 8x plus 7 equals 0. So it is set equal to 0, but if it wasn't, I would have to add or subtract it over to the other side. And it is in standard form with my x squared and then my x and then my number. So that can also be written as f of x, which means it's a function of x equals x squared plus 8x plus 7. So I'm just showing it can be written in different ways. So some of your problems in MathXL will be written as f of x. You can interchange and like substitute instead of f of x, you could write y. Or you could put a 0. We're setting y equal to 0 because that's the x-axis. When the x-axis is going straight across, that's where y equals 0. So y is going to equal 0, or y and f of x could be interchanged. But it's still the same equation part, x squared plus 8x plus 7. Okay, so I'm good to go. I can start graphing. So I'm at step 2, graph it. So what I want to do is I want to remember that my vertex from 12-2, so look back at 12-2 notes if you don't remember. 12-2 notes, or in your book, you could even look in the book. I want to do my negative b over 2a, that's the x value of the vertex, that I substitute it back into the equation and solve, and that gives me my y. So just remember a equals 1 here, and then b equals 8, c equals 7. So if I'm going to do negative b, it's negative 8 over 2a is 1, 2 times 1, that would be negative 4. So for my vertex, I'm going to just write it right here. Vertex, it'll be negative 4, comma, and then I substitute negative 4 into the equation to get my y value of the vertex. So I'm going to do that work right here. So again, negative b over 2a is from section 2-2, or sorry, 12-2. It gives you the x value of the vertex. The vertex is important because once you know the vertex, I'll just write it over here. Like, let's say you know that this is the vertex. You know you can go to the next point. You have to solve and find that point, though, and you can reflect it over, remember? And then you can go one more, find the next point. Maybe it's up here, and then you reflect it over, and then you've got your parabola. If you don't know the vertex, you might have to pick a lot of values in your XY table. So the vertex is like a faster way to get your graph. Okay. So anyways, I'm going to substitute in negative 4 into my equation. So negative 4 squared for x squared plus 8 times negative 4 plus 7. That would be 16 minus 32 plus 7. That's negative 32 plus 7. Sorry, geez, negative 16 plus 7, which I believe is negative 9. All right, so that's my vertex. And then in order to graph, I need to know, you'll see in the MathXL, it makes it kind of easy. I think you only have to know 1 or 2 more points and you can get the shape of the graph. So from here, I'm going to do my XY table. I'm trying to squish it in here because I don't want to use another page. So I've got my negative 4, negative 9 point. And then I can go 1 less or 1 more, and I know my next point. So I'll just go 1 less would be negative 5, and then 1 more is negative 3. So I'll just substitute in negative 3, and I'm going to try to do it kind of mentally. I haven't worked it out yet, so I might make a mistake. So actually, I'm going to write it down. So negative 3 squared plus 8 times negative 3 plus 7. So that's 9 minus 24. Yeah, plus 7. So that would be 8, I believe. Negative 8. Let me double check that. So again, if you're having a lot of issues on your own when you're practicing, try to use Desmos to help you and try to learn. But I understand if you're having issues, that is negative 8. So it's -8 for the point to the right of it and to the point left of it. And then I can also find one more point, -2, and that would match up here with the next value, which is -6. Remember how I told you guys it has a pattern? So I would now plug in -2 for x. I can probably do this one mentally. So I'm looking at the equation. It would be -2 squared, which is 4, and then that's -16 plus 7. So 4 and -16 is -12, and -12 plus 7 is 5, right? Yeah, 5, -5. And then I can copy that over here for 6, -6, -5. Okay, so those points will give me my graph, and then I can also find all these key features. So far, the only key feature I have found is my x-intercepts. I don't know the solutions yet. So your graphs for your homework, they'll all be digital graphs. This definitely points into the negatives for the y-axis, so I'm going to make sure, oops, my x-axis is pretty high up there. There's my x. That looks weird. And there's my y. I want to try to get this done kind of quick, though, so you guys have time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I went the wrong way. Got to go a little more this way. Oh, this is horrible. I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I got to go down to -9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I just try to evenly space them as much as possible. It's way better if you have graph paper. But there, this will at least work for the most part. So now I can plot my points. I do like to start at the vertex -4, -9. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I made my -9 way down here. And I remember, you can tell from the equation, it's positive in front of the x squared. I can tell already it's going to open up. I just need to know the exact points for where the points will be. Then I've got -3, -8. So I go over 1 and then up to the -8. And it's a reflection, so -5 is also -8. And then my last points, just to give it the real parabola. Oh, that looks bad. You guys know it would look much better if I had graph paper. And then -2, -5, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's there, and then -6, -5. There. Okay, so the problem here is the way I'm doing this, it doesn't meet up to the lines don't cross the x-axis. I can tell that it will. If I just randomly draw it, I don't know exactly where it's going to go through. So this is a point where you could go to Desmos.com and graph it just to see where it goes exactly, or you could pick another point. I can pick -1 and plug that in and solve. I'm just going to do it real quick mentally. So again, I need to know the exact place. Where does this graph go through? It looks like it might go through at -1. I've already got -2, so that's not it. So this should be it. So I'm going to just try it real quick. If I plug it into the equation, -1 squared is 1, and then that would be a -8, and then plus 7. So 1 minus 8 plus 7 is 0. And that's what I want. I want to know when y equals 0. So I've got one more point right here. And then that would be, I know there's not room, but -7 would also be 0. So -7, it crosses through there. And I can just kind of extend my graph up more. So those two are the x-intercepts right here and here. But like I was saying, depending on the equation, it might be hard to see it. So that's why I'm telling you guys, I'm totally fine if you go to desmos.com to get the information. You need to see what is the exact point for the x-intercepts. So I don't have that much room, but I'm going to write vertex. I'll just write the solutions right here. Solution, also known as the x-intercepts. They have to be written as an ordered pair. So one of them is at -1, -1 comma 0. So it's this one. And then, so sloppy, I'm sorry. It's at -7 comma 0. And again, those are the places where the graph crosses through the x-axis. That one and that one. So again, if you're struggling, if it's confusing, if you're like, oh, I can't tell where it meets, just go to Desmos, graph y equals x squared plus 8x plus 7. So that's not all of the key features though. So I did want to show you, we've got the vertex. There's going to be a lot of things to find. So the vertex. And then we've got to find, it opens up. This one is going up. So I'm going to write that down. Opens up. And I think the only other thing is we have to find the y-intercept. It has not crossed the y-axis yet. So I have to keep going, I guess, to see where it crosses the y-axis. And again, this is a place where you might want to go to desmos.com. But to find the y-intercept, I just have to keep going in my graph. So going to the right, that's when it's going to cross the y. So I have to plug in 0 for x. It's always easy when you plug in 0. So looking at our equation would be 0 squared plus 8 times 0 plus 7. That's 0 plus 0 plus 7. So 0, 7 is our y-intercept. If you do Desmos, just trace along the graph and see what is that point when the graph crosses the y-axis, when it touches it, when it like crosses through it. So I'm going to go ahead and write that here. Y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. It's always where x equals 0, and then you have to solve for y. So these are the key features: opens up, y-intercept, and the vertex. All right. Good luck on MathXL. Give it your best try. You can click for help. You can use desmos.com. You can also go to JVHS Avid Tutors for more help too. Make sure you get your questions on the left and a summary for full credit, and turn these notes into Google Classroom.